Guys, today is the day where I answer the long-awaited question of what Jane Austen character are you? Yep. So when I put out on the community tab a call for questions you guys wanted me to answer about myself, one of the top questions was, what Jane Austen character are you? And so today we're going to be trying to address this issue from multiple perspectives. The first one is I'm going to be taking a BuzzFeed quiz, because obviously that's how we should all learn about ourselves. Let random quiz makers on the internet tell us exactly who we are as people. The second way is I will share with you what my family and friends and even past coworkers have decided, because they actually have reached a consensus on what Jane Austen character I am. And I'll tell you how I feel about that consensus. Leave in the comments, what Jane Austen character do you think I am? Also, what Jane Austen character are you? Would we get along? These are the deep questions of life. But let's dive into it after I dramatically drink from my cat cup. Also this, guys, I'm going to be answering the other very asked question of, is Ellie Dashwood your real name? Because it all ties into this, actually. But first, BuzzFeed. I have my computer. Let's do this. Why do my neighbors drive loudly? Okay, everyone's personality matches a Jane Austen character. Which are you? We can't all be Elizabeth Bennet. Okay, that's true. I feel like everybody wants to be Elizabeth, but are really any of us Elizabeth? I don't know. Okay, so first up, choose a country to live in. Why do they make life hard? Okay, my options are London, France. Okay, I have to point out first that London is not a country. I was like, wait a minute. Well, the rest of them I think are countries, right? So we have London, France, Australia, South Africa, Greece, or New Zealand. London's not a country. I'm sorry, BuzzFeed creator, whoever made this. But let's see. I'm gonna have to go with London just because I do love the history. I can't pick Australia because I've heard they have like scary spiders in Australia. I don't like scary spiders. France, I don't speak the language, but like I think it would be cool still. But still, do any of these have like the British Museum in them? Nope, just London, so we're going with London. Okay, up next, choose a quote. There is no charm equal to tenderness of heart. To be fond of dancing was a certain step towards falling in love. You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope. I will be calm. I will be mistress of myself. To sit in the shade on a fine day and look upon verdure is the most perfect refreshment. What are men to rocks and mountains? So this is a very interesting selection of quotes. So I'm not sure about the one about sitting in the shade on a fine day. Maybe that's from Mansfield Park. Mansfield Park's a big book. There's a lot of words to remember in there. But I feel like a lot of the other ones are pretty obvious where they're from. But what one do I connect with? I have to say, there is no charm equal to tenderness of heart. Let's go with that. Okay, what would you do at a ball? Oh no, these are the really tough questions in life. Laugh at the drama with your sisters. I would definitely do that. Talk with your suitors. I would have no suitors. Okay, enjoy all the attention. I'm pretty sure no one would be noticing me. Dance with your friends. I do that. I do that at parties. That's who I'm dancing with, my friends. Play the piano. I have no such skills. I'm very, very unaccomplished. Quietly observe from the corner. I would do that if for some reason my friends were not there. I would just be sitting there looking at everyone being like, why am I here? Why did I come to this ball? And the answer is probably for the food. So yeah. This is hard because I would both laugh at the drama with my sisters or dance with my friends. BuzzFeed, why do you make life hard? I'm going with dance with my friends because I feel like I do that consistently. Okay, choose a house. These are all very cool. Oh, there's a castle! I mean, the castle is cool, but I always hear that castles are actually very cold and drafty, and they weren't built for comfort. They were built as fortifications, obviously, because people used to come and attack other people. They're like, hey, I'm attacking your castle. So they were focused on defense rather than comfort, but that's not important here. I think I have to go with this one because it has cool green ivy. Pick a classic book. What are they doing to me? What did I get myself into with taking this quiz? Okay, here are our options. Anne of Green Gables, Little Women, To Kill a Mockingbird, Jane Eyre, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and The Great Gatsby. So I think if I had to narrow it down, it would come down between Little Women and Jane Eyre. Like, I love Anne of Green Gables. To Kill a Mockingbird was obviously good. You have to read it in school where I live. It was interesting. The Great Gatsby, I'm not a huge Great Gatsby fan, honestly, and I've never read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. But I have to say, of like all of these, Little Women or Jane Eyre, they're both so good. I feel like I need to go with Little Women just because Little Women had a very like life-changing effect on me when I read it when I was probably in intermediate school. So I have to go with Little Women. Okay. What is your favorite genre? My options are horror. No, I don't like horror at all. Comedy is good. Fantasy is interesting if it's interesting. Romance. It depends on what type of romance it is. Science fiction or nonfiction. Are they asking about like books or movies or just in general? I have to say, of these, I like romance or science fiction the most. So not a lot of you guys probably know this, but I'm a huge 1990s Star Trek fan. I know that's like weirdly specific, but I really love The Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine. Of these three, I really love Deep Space Nine the most, which is weird because like even most real Star Trek fans I meet in real life don't like Deep Space Nine. Nobody likes Deep Space Nine. If you like Deep Space Nine, please let me know in the comments because nobody else likes Deep Space Nine. But, I think I'm going to have to go with science fiction here because of that. Okay. Pick a hobby. Do I have hobbies? I don't think so. Embroidery. I don't know how to do that, but that's really cool. I have a friend who does that and she's awesome. Writing. I try that sometimes. Spending time with your family. I'm sorry. Is that anybody's hobby? Shouldn't that just be your life? Spending time with your family? It's like, you know what I do for fun? I spend some time with my family. I know it's this crazy out there new trend happening. Let me tell you, it's not for everybody, but it has its moments. Okay, reading, traveling, or dancing. So I will dance at parties. I can also dance in my bathroom, in my bedroom, in my living room, in my kitchen when listening to music. But I mean, like, I'm not like a dancer per se. And I don't really consider reading a hobby, especially because it's a lot of what I do for work now, clearly. So I have to say, I think writing is my hobby. Yeah. Writing, even though I haven't done it for months and months because I haven't had time, but if I was going to, I'd write stuff. Hey guys, Editing Ellie here. I just wanted to pop in and say that I do have a hobby. I realized while editing this video that my hobby is drawing. Now, am I good at it? That's questionable. But you know what is actually helping me get better is this video sponsor, Skillshare. So Skillshare is an online learning community that helps you learn new skills and also helps you take any existing talents to the next level and just generally dive into creative awesomeness. Skillshare has thousands of classes on so many different topics, such as drawing, painting, calligraphy, French, or even piano. This past week, I channeled my inner Eleanor from Sense and Sensibility to sharpen up my art skills. I took 2 classes. One of them was How to Draw Chibis with Emily Weiland, and the other was Procreate Animation with Rich Armstrong. I had so much fun in these classes. Sometimes I want to be creative, but I feel like I don't have time, or the idea of taking a class is super overwhelming. But because Skillshare classes are usually only an hour or less in length, they fit perfectly into my schedule, and I also feel like I can manage this, and then it makes me feel accomplished and just generally awesome when I take them. And there are always new classes coming out. One of the new classes that I'm super excited about is Hand Sewing Basics with Bernadette Banner. In a recent video, I mentioned the fact that I don't know how to sew, but I think with Skillshare's help and Bernadette's general awesomeness, that will soon change. And for all of you guys that watch my videos with Spanish subtitles, guess what? Skillshare also has Spanish subtitles. Their whole catalog has subtitles in Spanish, Portuguese, French. The first 1,000 of my subscribers that click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare so that you can start exploring your creativity today. Choose a modern YA book. I do not read modern YA books, but okay. The perks of being a wallflower. To all the boys I've loved before. One of us is lying. Looking for Alaska. Just listen. Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. I've heard of a couple of these, but I've read none and I don't even really know a lot about what they are. I have seen the trailer on Netflix for the movie of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, but I've never actually watched it. But I feel like that's still the one I know the most about, so I'm gonna pick that one. Okay, finally, pick a landscape. These questions are always hard because it's like, well, what's the qualification? Just I like it? Okay. I keep looking at this purple one. I don't know why, but that's what we're going with. Look, I got Elizabeth Bennet. Apparently, one of us is Elizabeth Bennet. Okay, no, not really. But it says, Elizabeth Bennet from Pride and Prejudice. You are intelligent, assertive, and quick-witted. You've definitely been told your tongue is too sharp for your own good. You cherish your independence above all else. Okay, so they think I'm Elizabeth Bennet. Am I? That's questionable. Also, how they got that from the fact that I picked a purple sunset and Little Women, I don't know. But okay, I guess we're going with it because this is what BuzzFeed says. And as we know, BuzzFeed can never be wrong. I'm actually quite surprised by this BuzzFeed take on my personality. I'm so surprised I need to turn to water. I actually need more water. I'll be right back. Okay guys, now that we know that BuzzFeed is very confident in the fact that I am Elizabeth Bennet, I'll tell you this. Real life people don't agree. In fact, my friends, my family, and even past coworkers have decided what Jane Austen character I am, and the consensus is I'm Elinor Dashwood. Yeah. I guess in real life I come across as the very sensible one. I don't know why. For a long time I was in denial about my Elinor Dashwood status, and I'd always be like, I'm not like her. I'm nothing like her. She dates one of the dumbest guys in all Jane Austen literature. She dates Edward Ferrars, which I'll tell you this much, guys, he leads her on the entire book. When they first met, he should have reminded himself, hey, I'm engaged to somebody else. I should not rise expectations in this innocent girl who's just being nice to me. I don't know why I'm making weird movements with the cup, but I'm just saying that he's dumb. I don't like Edward Ferrars, as I think I've said before, but alas, that's who apparently my literary doppelganger ends up married to. Anyway, a few months ago, I decided to take steps back and analyze it and see, like, am I actually Elinor Dashwood? And I just had to be really honest with myself, and the conclusion I came to was I am, and it's sad. Because again, she dates dumb guys. But this was one of my moments I was realizing was very Elinor Dashwood of me, and I will share it with you. When I was 14 years old, we moved from sort of small town. It was not that small of a town, but it was like small city, very sheltered. If you said one swear word in class, you got sent to the principal's office type of town / school I went to. So I moved from that up into Northern California. Guys, people were getting in gang fights in the cafeteria on my first day of school. I had never seen anything like it. I had never experienced anything like it. Now, the kids at the school were very interesting. Some of them were totally awesome, and they were all awesome in their own unique way, but some of them just also made really interesting life decisions. So for example, kids would look at me and they'd be like, why do you have a backpack and why is it so big? And I'd be like, I carry my textbooks home, because this was back when you still had huge textbooks and you had to take them home every night to do your homework. And they thought that was weird. And I was like, do you not take your textbooks home? And they're like, no, we never take them out of our locker. And I'm like, how do you do your homework? And they're like, we don't. I was like, okay. Anyway, then on top of that, in gym class, they had us run around sort of like a path that ran around the school, like outlying. It went through trees around different fields and stuff. Anyway, they would have us run the mile on that. But the kids wouldn't really run. They would stop at the specific point where there were some bleachers under trees, and that was like outside of the site of where the gym teacher usually stayed. And they would just break out marijuana and start smoking in the middle of gym class. Yeah. So 14-year-old me decides that I clearly need to help these kids make better life decisions. Yeah. So I start trying to reason with them, and I go two different routes. Honestly, neither of them were successful. But one was the reasoning on the idea that they are ruining their bodies by doing drugs, they're killing their brain cells. Wouldn't they still like to have some brain cells left when they grow up? And they looked at me like I was crazy. It was probably really a good thing that they were stoned because, like, why else are they putting up with me at this point? Anyway, some of them were like, yeah, well, I mean, even if we kill our brain cells, I'm sure we'll have some left. Like, I'll have 5 left and it'll be fine. I was like, you'll have 5 brain cells and you'll be fine. I don't think you understand what brain cells are. But I didn't say that because I didn't want him to feel bad that he didn't understand how brain cells worked. My other attempt at reasoning with these kids was the long-term goal setting and helping them reach their aspirations and connect that with what they are doing now. So I'd ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they would always consistently say things like veterinarian, pediatrician. And I would always try to hide my shock because at first I didn't expect this. I was like, you don't do your homework. You spend gym class smoking. How do you think that's gonna happen? Like, you're just gonna wake up and be a pediatrician one day when you turn 18? So I tried to educate them on what steps they would actually need to take to make these goals happen. Like, you'd need to take your classwork seriously, and then that would help you get into college. And then after college, then you would need to apply to med school. And of course, all of these things would require you to actually do your homework. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this much. None of them did their homework anymore. None of them did drugs less. My reformation attempts failed horribly. Thankfully, after 6 months of that, we moved back to the small city I was from, and I didn't have to try to reform anyone anymore. Anyway, while also at the school, I ended up spending a lot of time in the library hiding, especially during lunch, because again, people getting in fights during lunch. No one ever got in a gang fight in the library. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't know why you think if they were in the library, they could take the books off the shelves and just throw them at each other, have like a book fight, but you never saw them doing that. And I'm not suggesting this. If you are in a gang in high school, please do not get in a fight with books in the library. Respect the books, respect the school, don't do drugs, do your homework. See, I have not changed since I was 14 years old. Nothing has changed. So at this point, you guys might be saying, okay, Ellie, you're most like Eleanor Dashwood, and your YouTube name is Ellie Dashwood. What are the chances of that? I'll tell you what the chances are. Not very likely, honestly. I mean, what are the chances of that? Like, statistically, I don't know. But as you guys might have guessed, my last name is not really Dashwood. When I was a kid and I found out that writers had pen names and actors had stage names, I was like, this is it. I need one of those. That's so cool. Goals. So when I set up my YouTube channel, I was like, guess what, guys? This is my opportunity. I must seize on it now. It may never happen again. My chance to have YouTube name? What do you call stage names / pen names, but they're on YouTube? Do you just call those YouTube names? I have one, yet I don't know what it's called. Okay. Anyway, because everyone did say I was like Eleanor Dashwood, I did use the Dashwood from Sense and Sensibility, clearly. Also, it ties in. Ellie is actually short for Electra. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you probably know that. Usually one of the first questions I get on this is, how on earth did your parents name you Electra? And the answer is, my mom was 18 years old when she named me. A couple years prior to that, she had a mohawk and was hitchhiking around Southern California and telling people her name was Moonchild. And it was that sort of teenager that named me Electra. Anyway, I shortened it down to Ellie because I thought it was more Regency-ish. So Electra is actually part of my full name, which is honestly pretty fantastic. And by fantastic, I mean it sounds like I should be a superhero in a sci-fi novel or a pop star or something. And my whole childhood was me feeling like I did not live up to the greatness of my own name. I went through a whole era where I was like, you know what? I wish I was just named like Nicole or something that like all the other kids are named. But no, I didn't get a normal name. Not that there's anything wrong with the name Electra. As I've grown older, I've come to appreciate my name more. And I actually like it now, unlike when I was a kid. Anyway, that is where the Ellie comes from. It comes from Electra, and then Dashwood comes from the fact that everybody thinks I'm Eleanor Dashwood, apparently. Except for BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed thinks I'm Elizabeth Bennet. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and learned something, even if it is the fact that I tried to reform people at school and it failed. I'm a failure, guys. Nobody did their homework more. Just gonna drink from my cup. Life-oo. Now I'm out of water. Anyway, I hope you guys are all having an awesome and amazing day. And please remember to subscribe or like or leave a comment and tell me all the things because you guys are awesome and keep being awesome.